Right now, as you watch this video, you are 93 million miles away from something that could erase everything. It's not a bomb, a virus, or a war. It's something far more ancient, far more powerful, and it has already happened before. On September 1st, 1859, the sky caught fire. Telegraph machines exploded, electrocuting operators at their desks. Night turned into day across the entire planet. Humanity, without even realizing it, came within a breath of extinction. The terrifying part is, if that same event happened today, you wouldn't be watching this. Your phone wouldn't work. The power grid would be gone. Satellites would rain from the sky like dying stars. In less than 90 seconds, the modern world would simply stop. This isn't science fiction. This is the forgotten story of the Carrington Event, the day the sun reminded us who's really in control. Scientists say it's going to happen again. The question is, will we survive it this time? 93 million miles away, a storm was brewing, one unlike anything humanity had ever known. It wasn't made of clouds or thunder or rain, but fire. Liquid fire born from the surface of our sun. Most people on Earth had no idea. In 1859, there were no satellites, no power grids, no global internet. The world was lit by candlelight, driven by steam, and connected by a brand new invention, the telegraph. To humanity, the sun was simply a steady golden friend in the sky. But on one late summer morning, that friend would suddenly turn into a monster. His name was Richard Carrington, a young English astronomer whose obsession was sketching the sun. Every morning, through his telescope, he traced the dark sunspots drifting across its face. But on September 1st, 1859, as he focused his lens, something extraordinary happened. A sudden blinding flash. Two brilliant beads of white light erupted from the sunspot cluster, connecting like a glowing bridge. Carrington froze, pencil in hand. The entire solar surface seemed to boil before his eyes. He timed it carefully. 5 minutes, then it vanished just like that. He didn't know it yet, but he had just witnessed the largest solar flare in recorded history. The sun had just fired a bullet straight toward Earth. That burst of energy, a coronal mass ejection, raced through the vacuum at more than 1,000,000 miles per hour. It carried billions of tons of charged particles, a wave of invisible fury. If the Earth had been a few degrees off its orbit, the storm might have missed us. But destiny had other plans. For nearly 17 hours, the particles hurtled through space, a silent tsunami of plasma, aimed directly at our planet. No one could see it. No one could stop it. On the evening of September 1st, the first signs appeared. Telegraph operators in North America began hearing strange crackles on their lines. In the darkness above the plains, a red glow began to pulse across the sky. Midnight in Maine, a farmer stepped outside to check on his animals and gasped. The sky was alive. Curtains of green and crimson light waved overhead, brighter than any dawn. He could read a newspaper by their glow. The Aurora Borealis had escaped the poles and reached as far south as the Caribbean. Witnesses said it looked like the heavens were burning. Others fell to their knees, believing Judgment Day had come. In the telegraph offices, chaos erupted. Operators were thrown back by electric shocks. Sparks jumped from the keys. Paper caught fire. Some unplugged their batteries, and the systems kept running, powered only by the storm itself. Imagine that for a moment. The sky itself, feeding energy into human machines. The invisible hand of the sun had reached into our world. There were no satellites to give alerts. No scientists who understood solar weather. The storm swept across the entire planet in minutes, wrapping the Earth in a magnetic haze. In London, compasses spun uselessly. In Rome, priests reported blood in the heavens. In Boston, night turned to eerie daylight. And yet, humanity survived, mostly unaware of what had just brushed past extinction. Now, pause for a second. Close your eyes and picture this same storm striking today. Our lives depend on electricity, satellites, GPS, and the internet. Power grids stretch across continents. Aircraft glide on autopilot, guided by invisible signals from space. Within seconds, a Carrington-level event would melt transformers, fry satellites, and plunge entire nations into darkness. NASA estimates that a modern repeat could cause $2 trillion in damage within weeks. Imagine losing every phone, every bank account, every GPS signal instantly. Airplanes grounded, water pumps offline, hospitals dark. Civilization paused with a single pulse from the sun. Back in 1859, the storm lasted for days. Auroras shimmered until dawn for an entire week. Then slowly the skies dimmed. Telegraph lines cooled. Life returned to normal, or what people thought was normal. But the memory of that week never left the few who witnessed it. Newspapers called it the Great Aurora. Carrington's name became legend in the world of astronomy. He had captured proof that the sun could change our destiny in a heartbeat. Yet, as decades passed, the world forgot. The photographs yellowed. The warnings faded into the background noise of history. Until recently, fast forward more than a century, we now orbit the sun with satellites that can see its every tremor. We have space telescopes, solar observatories, and data streams pouring from every corner of the system. But deep inside NASA's space weather labs, one truth keeps scientists awake at night. It will happen again. Solar storms follow cycles roughly every 11 years. The sun wakes up, grows restless, and releases its fury. Most flares miss Earth, but once every few centuries, one is perfectly aimed. And the next Carrington event could arrive without warning, just like before. In 2012, we came closer than anyone realized. A massive solar eruption blasted out from the sun and missed Earth by just 9 days. If our planet had been slightly farther along its orbit, we would have taken the full hit. NASA scientists later called it a cosmic near miss. One researcher said quietly, "We dodged the bullet by pure luck." That event reminded humanity how fragile our civilization really is. Every phone call, every transaction, every plane in the sky balanced on invisible currents of magnetism. Yet, amid the fear, there's a story of resilience. Because the same species that once stared helplessly at the aurora now builds machines that can predict them. We've learned. We've adapted. From the ashes of past storms, we've built space weather forecasting, satellite shielding, and emergency protocols. We've turned chaos into science. And maybe that's what defines humanity. We don't stop the storm. We learn to stand through it. The Carrington Event of 1859 wasn't the day humanity ended. It was the day we were warned. Every sunrise since then carries the same message across the sky. That we are tiny, fragile beings orbiting a star capable of both creation and destruction. And yet, even knowing that, we look up. We explore. We build machines to touch the sun itself. Because curiosity is stronger than fear. Because the light that could destroy us is the same light that gave us life. And that is why, when the next storm comes, and we'll face it the only way we know how, when you look up at the sky, what do you see? Maybe a calm, silent, empty space. But that's not the truth. The truth is, space is a battlefield. It's an endless storm of radiation, magnetic fields, and charged particles ripping through the void. Every single second, our sun throws billions of tons of superheated plasma into space. These are waves of pure energy that ripple through the entire solar system. The only reason we're safe is because of an invisible shield, Earth's magnetic field. It's like an unseen guardian deflecting most of this solar wind. But what happens when the sun roars with enough force? Well, even that shield begins to bend. And in 1859, it nearly broke. So what really happened back then? Let's break it down. The event started with a massive solar flare. It was a burst of X-rays and ultraviolet radiation that, traveling at the speed of light, hit Earth just 8 minutes later. It instantly ionized our upper atmosphere, completely disrupting the fragile layer that carries radio waves. But that was just the beginning. Then came the second wave, the coronal mass ejection, or CME. This was a gigantic bubble of plasma, billions of tons of it hurtling through space toward us. When that CME finally collided with Earth's magnetic field, it triggered what scientists call a geomagnetic storm, the most powerful one ever recorded. The energy it released was equal to 10 billion atomic bombs exploding at once. That storm didn't just paint beautiful colors in the sky. For days, it completely rewired our planet. Today, our world is far more vulnerable. Those same invisible forces that brought color to the night sky in 1859 now support everything we depend on. Our power grids, our satellites, all our communications, navigation, even the global financial system. Every text you send, every video you stream, every GPS coordinate that guides an airplane, it all rides on electromagnetic signals. If those signals were to suddenly vanish, our civilization would flicker like a dying light bulb. And yet most people have no idea what a solar storm even is. We worry about wars, viruses, and natural disasters here on Earth, but floating right above us, the sun watches patient, ancient, and dangerously unpredictable. The 1859 event wasn't the last warning we got. There were others, smaller, yes, but still powerful enough to remind us that the sun never really sleeps. In 1921, another massive storm struck. It literally burned out telegraph equipment across the United States and Europe. Railway control rooms burst into flames. Telegraph operators reported seeing sparks dance between their own fingers. Then, much more recently, in 1989, a storm that was just a fraction of the Carrington Event's power hit Quebec, Canada. In less than 90 seconds, the entire power grid collapsed. 6 million people were plunged into darkness. Think about that. In our modern age of computers and satellites, a single pulse from the sun wiped out an entire province. Now imagine that same event, but scaled up to the size of a continent. That's what a new Carrington event would do to us today. Let's just imagine it for a second. You wake up one morning, but your phone alarm never went off. You reach for it, it's dead, no signal, no battery indicator, nothing. You look outside, and the streetlights are all out. The power is gone everywhere. News stations are silent. Cars with electronic ignitions won't start. Airplanes are grounded. Within hours, panic would start to spread. Without satellites, GPS vanishes. And without GPS, global shipping grinds to a halt, airplanes lose their way, ATMs go offline, and financial markets collapse. Our food supply chains would fail. Water pumps would stop working. Hospitals would have to switch to emergency generators, but those only last for a few days. All of this, just because a star 93 million miles away sneezed. We like to think that progress is permanent. That once we've invented something, it's here to stay. But our technology is incredibly fragile. It doesn't take centuries for it to crumble. It just takes a few minutes of the wrong kind of energy. A single powerful solar storm could set modern humanity back by decades. And in that sudden silence, in that darkness, we'd rediscover all the things we once took for granted. The simple beauty of candlelight. The sound of the wind without the hum of machines. The pulse of the earth itself. Maybe we'd even start to look up at the sky again and see the same brilliant lights our ancestors saw in 1859. The sky alive with energy. But this time, humanity isn't blind. We have eyes in the sky. Orbiting high above Earth are spacecraft like the SOHO, the Parker Solar Probe, and the Solar Dynamics Observatory. They stare directly into the heart of the sun, 24/7. They monitor flares, eruptions, and magnetic storms in real time. If they detect a major CME heading straight for Earth, space agencies will have less than 12 hours to react. That's our early warning system, the modern equivalent of Richard Carrington's telescope. It's not a lot of time, but it's enough to do something. Power grids can be shut down temporarily to protect them. Satellites can be put into a safe mode. Airlines can reroute flights away from the poles where the storm's effects are strongest. For a brief moment, our technology can hide, waiting for the storm to pass. It's not a perfect defense, but it's something. It's a testament to how much we've learned and to Carrington's lasting legacy. Every 11 years, the sun enters a phase of hyperactivity that scientists call the solar maximum. And right now, as you're listening to this, the next one is building. Astronomers are already watching sunspots appear like dark bruises on its surface. Each one of those is a potential source for another Carrington-class event. It could happen tomorrow. It could be 50 years from now. We just don't know. The clock is ticking, and the universe doesn't care about our timelines. It moves to its own rhythm. Across the world, nations are quietly preparing. The United States has official space weather defense plans. Europe is building solar storm simulators to test its satellites. Even private companies like SpaceX are designing their Starlink satellites with magnetic shielding. Because one day, those shields might be the only thing standing between our modern world and a total blackout. But there's another kind of shield too. One that isn't built from metal or magnetism, but from understanding. From knowledge. When people know what might be coming, they prepare. They adapt. They survive. And that's why stories like the Carrington Event matter so much. Because history isn't just about what happened in the past, it has a map of what can happen again. In every sunrise, there's a reminder. That light you see took 8 minutes to travel from the sun to reach you. 8 minutes ago, it left the sun's surface, journeying across empty space to warm your skin. It's both ancient and immediate. It's gentle and it's terrifying. That light carries the power to grow forests and warm oceans, but it also carries the power to erase everything we've ever built. That duality of creation and destruction is what makes the universe so beautiful. And maybe, deep down, we understand that. Maybe that's why we're so drawn to it. Why we send probes to the stars. Why we risk everything, just to know more. Because in understanding the sun, we come to better understand ourselves. Richard Carrington never knew how famous his discovery would become. He didn't live to see the age of satellites or electric grids. But his observation completely changed the way we see the cosmos. It proved one profound truth, that even the calmest-looking star hides chaos just beneath its surface. And that knowledge, that humility, might be the very thing that saves us one day. When the next great storm comes and the world trembles, we will remember his name. Carrington, the man who saw the sun blink and warned us all. We often fear the darkness. But maybe what we truly fear is losing the light. The Carrington Event wasn't just a storm. It was a message, a whisper from the universe reminding us of our fragility but also of our strength. We are the children of a volatile star, living in its glow, surviving in its shadow, and yet we continue to build, to explore, and to dream. Not despite that danger, but because of it. Because to be human is to chase the very forces that could destroy us. To find beauty in the risk. To stand beneath the fire and still have the courage to look up. That's our story. That's who we are. And when the next great solar storm lights up our skies, humanity will look up once more, not with fear, but with awe. Because even at the edge of chaos, we are the species that refuses to stop dreaming. The year is not 1859 anymore. We are no longer guided by candlelight and Morse code. We have conquered the sky, mapped the stars, and connected the entire planet with invisible waves. But in our pursuit of progress, we have built a world more dependent and more vulnerable than ever. Every wire, every byte, every heartbeat of technology beats in rhythm with the sun. And when that rhythm falters, so does ours. Scientists say the question isn't if another Carrington event will happen, but when, and the truth, we may not be ready. Today, inside NASA's Space Weather Prediction Center, glowing monitors track the pulse of the sun 24 hours a day. Satellites like SOHO, the Parker Solar Probe, and the Solar Orbiter send back streams of data every second: magnetic readings, plasma density, flare alerts. When the sun sneezes, these machines feel it first. But even with all that technology, we'd have less than 12 hours to respond to a full-scale solar storm. 12 hours to protect a civilization built over centuries. Think about that. In half a day, we'd have to shut down satellites, power grids, airlines, and the internet or risk losing them all. It's like trying to shield a sandcastle from a tsunami. To prepare, governments are now creating solar storm survival protocols. NASA calls it Operation Shield. Power companies test backup transformers in secret facilities. Some banks keep offline copies of financial records, just in case the digital world vanishes overnight. And while the public rarely hears about it, military satellites are already shielded against solar radiation, proof that someone, somewhere, is planning for the inevitable. Even underground, data vaults hum quietly, storing the DNA of our civilization: books, maps, music, history. Because if the sun decides to erase the present, at least our past will survive. Now imagine it. A flare erupts larger than any before. It's detected at 2 a.m. by solar observatories orbiting far from Earth. A massive coronal mass ejection leaves the sun's surface, racing toward us at nearly 2 million miles per hour. The countdown begins. 8 hours later, it slams into our magnetic field. Satellites lose contact. GPS signals twist into static. Auroras explode across the skies of New York, Los Angeles, Paris, and Tokyo. At first, it's beautiful, then terrifying. Power grids overload. Transformers melt. Internet cables fry beneath oceans, and suddenly silence. Cities fall dark. Airplanes circle, unsure where to land. The world that once thrived on light and connection returns to its most primitive form: stillness. Day 1 confusion. People flood the streets, searching for answers. Phones are dead, but no one knows why. News stations can't broadcast. By day 3, panic begins. Banks can't access digital funds. Stores run out of food. Hospitals ration power from failing generators. By day 5, silence spreads not just from lost machines but from disbelief. The modern world brought to its knees not by war or disease, but by sunlight. And yet, amid the chaos, something else begins to stir unity. Communities gather. Neighbors share supplies. The glow of candlelight returns, this time powered not by oil but by kindness. Even in the dark, humanity remembers who it is. Weeks later, as the sun calms, engineers begin to rebuild. Some satellites are gone forever, but others awaken, one by one, blinking like fireflies in the night. The first radio transmission crackles through the static, then another, and another. The world cheers. When the power finally returns, something has changed. We are no longer blind worshippers of technology, we are its caretakers. We've learned that every spark of electricity is a gift, every connection a miracle. And from that silence, a new world begins. The Carrington Event isn't just history, it's prophecy. It teaches us that power and fragility are often the same thing. That the sun, our eternal provider, is also a reminder of humility. The universe doesn't revolve around us. We revolve within it. Every civilization that forgets this truth eventually faces its reckoning. But humanity has one advantage others didn't. We learn, we fall, but we rise smarter. We break, but we rebuild stronger. That's our pattern, as consistent as the sun's own cycles. Step back for a moment. Look at our planet from space. A blue marble, fragile and glowing, orbiting a raging fireball. Every sunrise you've ever seen, every moment of warmth, every blade of grass and drop of rain, all of it comes from that inferno. The same force that could destroy us gives us life. And maybe that's the universe's way of teaching balance. Because creation and destruction are not opposites. They are partners in the same eternal dance. You see, what makes us remarkable isn't that we can build machines or reach the stars. It's that we dare to do it, even knowing how small we are. We look at the sun, a star 1,000,000 times bigger than our world, and we still ask questions. We still send ships toward it. We still believe we can understand it. That courage, that endless curiosity, is what keeps humanity alive. We don't just survive storms, we learn to harness them. We don't fear the fire, we use it to light the way. One day, another solar storm will come. It may shake our world, tear down our satellites, and plunge us into silence again. But this time, we'll know what to do. We'll have the knowledge, the systems, the strength, and the unity, because we've been warned, because we've grown, because we are the children of light. When that day arrives, we won't hide from the sun, we'll stand beneath it. And when the auroras rise again over every city on earth, we'll remember that even in our darkest hour, we are never truly alone. The light always returns, it always has, it always will. In 1859, Richard Carrington lifted his telescope and saw the impossible, the sun erupting in fire. He didn't know it then, but he had witnessed humanity's first warning. And now, centuries later, we still live beneath that same sun, still fragile, still curious, still alive. So the next time you watch a sunrise, remember this: you are standing on a world that once nearly vanished. But it didn't, because light, no matter how fierce, is never the end. It's just the beginning of another dawn. Thanks for watching.